Hey, I just recently looked at our article today. We're going to rally around Chuck Schumer House today, but with the madness of Christmas in New York City and me being train bound, didn't get a chance to go. Hopefully they cancel it and reschedule. I'm going to find out a little bit later. The Democrats are really dropping the ball on DACA. They're supposed to be the defenders with their cape on of immigrants. The Democrats are supposed to be the defenders. Now, we know the Republicans ain't defending people who come to this country. They could care less. They don't want them there. They don't want them here. They think they're sucking up our society and things like that. And as far as from the truth, they're helping our society. Contributing, making America. Immigrants are what make America great. I don't care if it's from Hispanic. I don't care if from West Indians. I don't care if it's from Africa. I don't care if it's from Poland. It doesn't matter. You come to this country. You come into this country to make it to add your contribution to this country. People come here with high hopes and high dreams. Yet the Republicans want to make sure that hey, if you're not a native. I don't know. You taking our jobs? We're tired of these illegals coming in here taking all our jobs and wrecking our economy. You need to shut up because you are immigrant. The only people that really was born and bred here is our Native American Indians who we crap on every freaking day. So you need to shut up. But Democrats don't hold no. They're not the beacon of hope. They should be, but they're not the beacon of hope for immigrants into this country. How do you know? Well, just recently. Look at this. Democrats who just voted to deport the Dreamers. Democrats now. Democrats. As my friends say, Democrats. These Democrats who just voted for deporting the Dreamers, and you need to get at them whenever you get a chance. You need to get at them hard. All right, let's start with the House of Representatives. Terry Sewell of Alabama, a Democrat from Alabama. But hey, I'm from Alabama. I'm supposed to vote the same way my constituents want me to vote. Tom O'Halloran, Democrat from Arizona. Christine Sinema, Democrat from Arizona. Jim Costa, Democrat from California. Raul Ruiz, a Hispanic Democrat from California. Charlie Crist, Democrat from Florida. Former Republican, who's now a Democrat. Former governor of he was a former governor of Florida who was a Republican that turned Democratic. He voted against. He voted too. These are votes too. Al Lawson of Florida. Stephen Murray of Florida. Sanford Bishop of Georgia. Dave Loebsack, Democrat from Indiana. Charles Bustow, Democratic from Illinois. Brad Snyder, Democratic from Illinois. John Delaney, Maryland Democrat. Josh Gottheimer, Democratic from New Jersey. In the Senate, Tom Carpenter, Chris Coons, Bill Nelson, John Donnelly, Angus King, Gary Peter, Debbie Stabenow, figures. Claire McCaskill, that was expected. She's a Republican anyway. John Tester, Heidi Heitkamp, another Republican posing as a Democrat. Maggie Hassan, Jean Shaheen, Martin Heinrich, Tom Udell. Here you go, the guy running for vice president, Tim Kaine. Mark Warner, both of these people are from Virginia. Patrick Leahy of Vermont. And Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Now, I noticed I didn't see Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, none of these people up here. Or Elizabeth Warren. But whatever. Okay? All right, so let me go into this in more detail. I was reading this article, and let me go into it real quick. Oh, what do we do with our country, man? What do we do with our country? All right, this is from CNN Politics. Not a big fan. They say in the end, the calendar won. That has some recalculating who will have leverage in January for negotiation on immigrants. Congress finished up its business this year, Thursday night, and left town without resolving the major outstanding issues, including a resolution to defer action for childhood arrival programs, which lawmakers have repeatedly pledged to fix before the end of the year. Pledged to fix before the end of the year. Now, let's just hold on it. We'll carry it over into next year and pick it up from there. It's liars, man. Liars. Republicans voted to pass an extension of government funding through mid-January without acting on immigration, health care, and disaster spending issues, pushing the showdown into January. In other words, these cowardly, punk-behind Democrats, along with the cowardly, punk-behind Republicans, decide to push this over to January. The Democrats had leverage. They could have threatened to shut down the government if they didn't get nothing done on immigration, health care, and disaster spending issues. People still struggling in Florida. People still struggling in Sandy Hook. People still struggling in Louisiana, Houston, Texas, especially in Puerto Rico and the islands. Still struggling with humanitarian effort. They still don't have the funding to help them deal with that. Yeah, at the same time, we had an opportunity to expand our debate on health care and to deal with the immigration issues. But no. Well, you know, we're going to vote to go ahead and let more Hispanics, more immigrants, no matter what country you come from, get harassed by ICE and thrown in jail over the holiday season, and we'll come back and pick it up later, and hopefully we can get a deal. That's what they done to you. That's exactly what they done to you. They put you in a position for ICE to come in and raid your neighborhood, check your ID, and if you ain't got the proper ID, in the car you go, in jail you go, getting ready to get deported back to your country. And some of these people are people who probably benefited from immigration. Bunch of cowards, man. These Democrats, I'm telling you right now, you need to shout out them. You need to hit them on Twitter. You need to call their phones. You need to blast them. You need to put a video on Facebook and talk about it. Start a Facebook group on punk cowards. Our message to punk coward politicians on DACA, and do videos, whatever you need to do. Get your voice and make it supreme, make it rain on how stupid this was to kick the ball all the way to the end of January, because then they're going to be in the last week of January before they revisit. It's not going to be the first, second, or third. It's going to be the last day they're going to try to deal with this. So once again, the Democrats railroaded base, who happen to be people who benefited, if not of immigrant descent, people who would benefit from it by coming to this country, you're going to spit on, pee on, crap on, and smack around your base, all for the sake of peace with the Republicans on Trump. Or maybe you're just lazy. Maybe you just, I got to go home to my wife and kids for Christmas. My kids are waiting to see daddy. Your kids will understand if you'd have stayed and say, hey, I'm fighting for you and your buddies to stay in the country. Because I'm quite sure most of you politicians, your children got Hispanic friends. They got Jamaican friends. They got people from all kind of parts of the world coming to this country to better themselves. So I'm done with this, man. These punk politicians on both sides. I dare the Democrats. I mean, I can expect that from Democratic sellouts, pretty much Republicans. Joe Manchin, I can't even say Heidi ho, whatever her name, Heidi Camp. You know, stepping out. I expect those things from them because they're Republicans dressing as Democrats, and you people keep voting for them. You might as well just vote a Republican. Because a Democrat who's disavowing their Democratic, the reason they became a Democrat, you disavowing the reason you became a Democrat, to kiss up to the Republicans and kicking the ball all the way to next year, all because you want to make sure you get your hot apple pie and your hot pumpkin pie for Christmas. And you want to make sure you get home and open up your gifts instead of fighting for these immigrants and staying in Washington, D.C. The bottom line is you sold the people out to open up gifts and eat some pumpkin pie. You guys disgust me. I love you, but you disgust me. Let me read this article. Indiana calendar one. Congress finished up its business this year Thursday night and left town without resolving major astounding issues. Okay, Republicans voted to pass an extension of the government funding through mid-January without acting on immigration, healthcare, and disaster. Some DACA advocates worry that by not forcing the government shutdown fight, they gave up leverage for the next year. I think it's pretty evident that, how do I say this kindly, that there was some leverage potentially to do this year. I think Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats kind of abandoned it, said Republican Representative Mario Diaz-Balart of Florida, who has long supported immigration reform, but I'm still committed to getting it done, and I think it will get done. Here you got a Republican trying to work to get it done, and you, the Democrat, like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, are going to abandon this. Man, you guys got to remove them idiots, man. Chuck Schumer and Nancy got to go. They're not helping America. They're hurting. DACA protected from deportation young undocumented immigrants who came to the United States as children. But after President Donald Trump decided to end the program, DACA permits are set to begin expiring in early March. So the closer talks get to that debate, it could make Democrats more desperate to secure a fix, and they will have to swallow more concessions, or at least some Republican hope. In other words, Donald Trump is going to play this out, and he's going to say, look, I'll give you your DACA if you give me my wall. So you got to leave a leverage like this for him to beat you upside the head with? Come on, man. Yeah, I do have concerns about that, Senator Kamala Harris. Oh, God. I do worry. Yeah, I do have concerns about that, Senator Kamala Harris. Of course, she didn't vote for it because she's going to be running for president. She wants to run for president one day, and she don't want that smear. So Senator Kamala Harris, a California Democrat who's a leading progressive advocate for DACA in the Senate, said about the potential. Wonder why she's a leading progressive advocate. She's a leading advocate. She's not a progressive. Okay. In DACA in the Senate, she said about the potential that a deal would get worse for supporters as negotiations slip into the new year. Supporters also noted that despite Trump's plan to have no permits expire before March by offering a renewal window, more than 20,000 DACA recipients were either unable or unwilling to renew, meaning an average of 122 of them are losing their protection every day. Moreover, experts, 122 of them are losing their protection every day. Moreover, experts have expressed concerns that any replacement program will take time to establish, resulting in potential gaps in protections that later it gets. Harris noted the daily number of individuals losing status and living with the fear of possible deportation and inability to work. These timelines are not theoretical, she said. There is literally a consequence each day we don't get it done. Her concerns were echoed by Republican Representative Carlos Curbelo of Florida, who has been pushing hard in the House for compromise and DACA. I think the later it gets on this issue, the more difficult it's going to be to put together a workable compromise for everyone, Curbelo said. So my hats off to them, even Kamala Harris, Curbelo, the Republican Kamala. I get shout outs to you guys for making that fight. Do I think you should run for president? Nope. Nada. No. As negotiations continue during the holiday break, the negotiations will continue during the holiday break on possible solutions such as pairing a DACA fix with conservatives asking like border security. All right, let me read this again. Negotiations will continue during the holiday break on possible solutions such as pairing a DACA fix with conservatives ask like a border security, interior enforcement, and some element of immigration reform. On the Senate side, Democratic Whip Dick Durbin bipartisan working group will continue to meet likely by phone, according to the source familiar. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, a Kentucky Republican, pledged Wednesday to call a bill to the floor if the working group can reach a deal that's acceptable to both sides. On the House side, bipartisan talks have made substantial progress, and the results of those efforts could be introduced in January, when lawmakers are looking to move a deal though the House leadership has not committed to endorse any of those efforts. One Republican aide said that if the lawmaker can reach a compromise in the time the continued budget resolution buys them, leverage won't change much from the end of December. But closer to March is less forgiving for Democrats. I don't think it's a victory for either side. It optimizes that Congress does best, which is kicking the can down the road. In other words, I don't think it's a victory for either side. It epitomizes what Congress does best, which is kicking the can down the road. The aide said on a condition on a nominee. The aide said on conditions of anonymity. Can't even say anonymity. The aide said on condition of anonymity in order to speak candidly. Now, if we manage to kick down the road past January 19th, maybe the dynamic change. Now, Democrats are supposed to send a message. Democrats hope that the strong show of force against the continued resolution, which passed the House with only 13 Democrats and lost 16 Republicans, and passed the Senate with 32 Democrat no votes, will send a message to Republicans that they will have to negotiation in January. As lawmakers have faced the possibility of a government shutdown over Christmas, and that's the reason why they pushed it up, Republicans who have had major opposition to various elements of the government funding mostly agreed to punt the issue to January, but Democrats suspected that the next go round they will not be so willing, and Republicans will have to come asking for Democratic votes. I think we ended up being better positioned. I think we end up being in a better position because they cannot hold their caucus, said Democratic Representative Ruben Gallego of Arizona. At some point, the Freedom Caucus and the sort of conservative hawks will end up revolting against ACR, and that's why we need to stay strong in the House and in the Senate. The Congressional Hispanic Caucus, of which Gallego is a member, made a last-minute march to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer's office on Thursday to urge him to hold his caucus against the continued resolution. While it was never expected that Democrats would deny the House passed CR the votes it needed, especially when vulnerable red state Democrats up for re-election. The hope was that a strong showing of no votes would help send a message to the Republicans. It keeps the momentum, and I think as we get into more complicated issues like the spending cap and others, the presence is just going to get stronger and stronger, because internally they're going to get the same point that Boehner was at the Ryans. Basically, internally, they're going to get the same point that Boehner was at and Ryan been at trying to hold those groups, said Representative Grijalva, an Arizona Democrat, referring to the former House Speaker John Boehner and current Speaker Ryan. I think it intensifies and becomes more urgent and bitter, period. Grijalva added on January new deadline. There's no way to go but to get more bitter. All right, so I'm done with this long article. All right, so here's the bottom line. They don't want to, the reason they voted no, because they don't want to sit there and stonewall and hold a government shutdown during Christmas time. Why? Because they want to get to their sweet babies, and they want to get to their sweet wife, and they want to get to their nice warm bed with their wives, and they want to eat their apple pie and spend time with the family and open up gifts. That's all what it is. They kick you down the curve to January because they want to go home to spend Christmas with their family, just like everybody else except me. I'm not spending Christmas with my family. I got to work, and I don't have no choice. And the people who I serve deserve my customer service. So they pretty much kicked the date down a little bit further, claiming that they have better leverage then when they had better leverage now, but they sold you out to go get that sweet hot potato pie and that eggnog. Write these people on this list right now. Write them, email them, shout them out, hit them on Twitter, bombard them because they just screwed you royally. And say, you're not worth it right now, so we're going to push it all the way over to the end of freaking January, which is probably going to be because I need to go and spend time with my family. I miss them. I love them. While they're at home with their family, you're fearing that ICE might come and arrest you and get ready to take you back to where you came from. Is that cool? It's not cool at all. Is that right? It's not right. Is that a doggone shame? Yeah, it's a doggone shame. It's a doggone shame to everybody that's on that freaking list. And they ought to be ashamed of their doggone self. I'm Bob TV, Freedom on Fire. Peace. Hey, thank you for watching the webcast. By all means, make sure you like, subscribe, and share these videos. Go to YouTube right now and hit the notification button and hit the subscribe. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, by all means, there's a Patreon link. I will put a PayPal link, and the money toward that goes toward equipment, things like that. And last but not least, make sure you look at two sections down below. One is called Get to Know LS, the membership. The other one is Get to Know LS, the opportunity. What do you mean LS? LS is a program that called Legal Shield that I am an independent representative of. It has not, that company has nothing to do with my views. I fell in love with this program about a decade ago. I've been doing this for over a decade, offering the services to people to benefit and connecting people to the services, putting them in a position where equal justice under the law is not just on the Supreme Court building. It's actually becoming a reality in their lives by having this memberships. And this, with this organization, not only will you be able to know about your rights in a certain area, but you'll know about how to exert and execute your right with the power of attorney, top-rated attorney, backing you no matter where you go, without worrying about all this money coming out your pocket and things like that. So get to know LS, the member, financially. You can help contribute to this program by becoming a member. Some of the proceeds of being a member of LS goes toward Freedom on Fire and the Rob Report. I'm Robert Bob TV Brown. I thank you for being a huge support to what we do here. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.